Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome to Into the Core podcast with myself, Linda. It is such a pleasure to be back on our second Thursday of 2024. Today I'm so excited because I have my girl who I have just watched, talk about people who inspire you. She's one of those people who, for me, just keeps pushing the boundaries, pushing her elements, but she keeps doing everything that she's passionate about. And I feel like that's one of the reasons for me. I'm excited to have her back in Into the Core podcast. Before I get to introduce her, you know what our intro is all about. Into the Core.
Get into it.
All good things in Africa and beyond. Into the Core. Into the Core. Into the Core. All good things in Africa and beyond. KimeWaka, that's what's up. That is what today.
Core.
Oh my God. Hey, Wamuhu. This is my guest for today. Wamuhu, a trailblazer she's just lighting up spaces and places. Kimewaka, man. How are
Yeah,
you, my love?
I'm well, and this is Zulu. He
Hey,
has to. Um,
Stu.
I'm well. I'm home in Kilifi. So if you hear chickens and goats and cows around, we're in shags. So forgive us.
I
We're really-
love it.
Yes, I'm well. I am. I'm tired. I'm busy. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I'm inspired. Yeah, I'm proud. I am happy to be back. This is my encore on Into the Core. So, yes, I am very happy to be back and I'm very honored. And mwah, good morning, everybody out there.
Oh, you're such an exciting person. You know what? I feel like before I even start talking about all the beautiful things that you've been doing, I feel like I need to give people the vibe and the reason why we're gonna have like this beautiful bespoke conversation. And Zulu would also like to ask you a couple of questions, but I'll let your mama answer some of them for you. All right. This is a beautiful thing about Wamuhu is that because of this beautiful podcast, she is powering this conversations thanks to KimeWaka Safaris. So here we go. Join the
Yeah. Mekatilili, Mekatilili.
Africa is lit because of KimeWaka Safaris. I have to say that it is just absolutely stunning what you were doing. I want to first start with where I left you. I left you in Lamu, and you were starting your project with Mararaha. How is that going?
It's going. Gosh, that was it's so crazy to think that was what 2 3 years ago.
Mm.
Um, so fast. Yeah. So I started a little lounge project in Lamu called Mararaha in a little village called Mararani. So that's where the name came from. From Mararani came Mararaha. And they actually call me now. My official name in Lamu now is Mama Raha, which I am so proud to take on that mantle. So yes, going well. I developed in an area that was very, very disenfranchised. There was not a lot going on. Actually, I remember when I was building, there was literally one mud hut in front of my space, and now it is packed to the brim, like literally mansion, mansion, mansion. And so I'm so excited to see what my little project, the development, and the excitement to this area that had pretty much been forgotten brought. So now we open only once a month. I recently moved to Lamu. I mean, from Lamu to Kilifi. So I am still working on the project there in Lamu, and I'm now working with my tour company, KimeWaka, and I feel much better as having a base here in. So yeah, I'm bi-coastal, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely are bi-coastal. That is actually a really beautiful way of looking at it because yeah, you basically sparked development in an area that nobody even thought about. And I think that that is beautiful because you call it shedding light, to a village and to a space in an area. And congratulations on Mararaha. All I've heard is amazing things, and yeah, another more lit moments.
Yes.
um just speaking about Lamu, and one of the reasons why you went down to Lamu, and that you were very passionate about were the children. Are you still helping out with the children, and how are they doing?
The children are not children anymore. Well, they're still children, but they're so big, are taller than me. They are, some are now out of high school and have joined universities and colleges around. Some that were, really, really in standard two, standard three, standard four, now in standard seven, standard eight, and form one. So yeah, it's really exciting. The project is still there. It's still being run beautifully. I don't get to obviously see the kids as much because I now live full time in Kilifi, but a lot. And yeah, they are thriving. The project is Anidan, Anidan. If anybody wants to really support a kids project that is, very on point, very on track to keeping kids successful, it is. We don't call it an orphanage; it is a home, and all these kids are a family. Yeah, and I'll always be the crazy auntie.
Not so crazy because you basically pull miracles for them, and that's exactly how. And you could be my crazy auntie any day. Anyway.
You,
Listen, okay, so kids are doing well. People can support, and I will put some stuff in. It's NIDAN, right?
yes,
Um,
Nidan.
and so I will put that in later on in order for you guys to check them out. But okay, so this big move to Kilifi, how did that happen? And you moved with Zulu, who just travels on you in bodas and donkeys and everything. I love it. I'm just the
uh,
vibe.
I guess I was ready for a bit of a change. I'm realizing that I have this like 2 year, 3 year itch with my life. Um, a huge, huge move from America to Kenya after living in America for 24 years, coming back to Kenya. Now it's been, gosh, 4 years, which I literally always have to say 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, because I can't believe it has been 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, And uh, my therapist once said, "Oh, do you realize you have this character of running away? You just, something happens and it's exciting, and then you run away." And then I realized it's not really running away. I just I like changing. I like the next.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just
Yes, I
repeat
love.
what you said. You went off air.
Oh, sorry about that. I said I like to spark changes, and then when I feel like my work day is done, I tend to move on quite often. And for me, it is I pick peace, and it kind of wasn't as peaceful as I wanted to be. I mean, Lamu is a wonderful place. It's one of the most
Mm.
beautiful places in the world, but it is also a very, 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 very tiny island. And your business is going to be in everybody's mouth, and I am very much, out there, and I'm very much an open book. So I
Yeah.
needed to hide a little bit. So I came here to Kilifi and found this little paradise that I'm in right now. And I can hide. I can literally 2 weeks without seeing anybody and not feel like I'm missing out. Because, technically I am quite the extrovert, but I'm a very introverted extrovert. This property just kind of fell on my lap. I remember one day I woke up and I was thinking, I need to move to Kilifi. And I just wrote a friend in the middle of the night. I don't know what put that in my spirit. And my friend said, "Oh, that's interesting that you asked, because I just decided to move out of this property that I'm in, and I think you'd really love it." She showed me the view. I literally packed my bags the next month, moved here with my dog and everything, sight and seen just off a video. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I actually ended up buying a piece of property very close to where I'm currently, just because I really fell in love with the atmosphere here, the people, just the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm here, and I'm not as inundated with running a lounge, because a lounge is something that you have to give 100% every single day of the week. I used to be open Monday to Monday. So now we can give the people some raha every now and then. But now I'm also able to concentrate on other things that I love to do, that I'm passionate about. And that's
Yeah.
where Safaris and Mekatilili dhow was born.
So yeah, speaking of Mekatilili, before you even tell me about how the Dao was born, can you just
Yeah,
give me a little bit, because we were talking about this,
yeah.
and you mentioned about this badass, absolutely fierce woman that is Mekatilili, because a lot of us don't hear, like you mentioned, we don't hear the back end stories. So can you give us a little bit of a background as to Mekatilili and then the Dao, like yeah, how that came about?
So Mekatilili Wamenza, they call her, was a freedom fighter. She was actually one of the most renowned freedom fighters in Kenya, and she had.
Mhm.
I'm not sure why in school every single Kenyan was taught about this woman. I think it's really, really important to delve into our history. Like they say, mwacha mila ni mtumwa. Like if you don't really know where you came from, where really are you heading to? So for me, it was, when I discovered and I found out about this story, I was a little upset. Like, why didn't my teachers teach me about this? Why did my
Right.
have something about this woman? So she was Giriama from the Kilifi County. And yeah, so when I moved here, I started delving more into who she was as a person, and just was very proud of the heritage as a Kenyan woman. And yeah, so I just wanted to pay homage to her in any way that I can. Because yeah, she is one of our fiercest ancestors for sure.
I love that. Freedom fighters and obviously celebrating her existence and celebrating her name and giving her flowers for all the reasons that she actually put in for us to have the freedom that we have right now. Okay, so tell me about the Tao and um, what was that experience? I mean, there must be a reason. There must have been that ticker where you're just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, tell me about
Uh,
that.
so after visiting Lamu now for the last 50, and the first time I got into a dhow, I just fell in love with that vessel. And a dhow is a traditional sailboat. It is wooden, and it is Arab and actually also Chinese influenced, centuries old. Centuries and centuries ago, people used to travel traverse the entire planet and the waters and the oceans and the seas using these traditional dhows. Again, when it comes to African history, we are relegated to that. Oh, we are savages who didn't really get anywhere and didn't do anything. And, the only time we were discovered was when Europeans came and discovered us.
Yeah.
While we were traveling, the seas and the oceans for thousands of miles. So I fell in love with a dhow. One day I'm going to have a dhow, and this is where I talked to people and we thought about it, and it just never worked out. And another thing I love about Kilifi is really the open mindedness. And we're always surrounded by Kenyans, especially who are, they're entrepreneurial. They're dreamers, and that is one thing I really missed living in Kilifi. No offense, but living in Lamu, it was a very wide space.
Yeah.
So one day, just sitting at a birthday party with some friends, and we just brought up about DAOs, and somebody said, "Hey, look, we should get a DAO." And I said, "You know what? I've always wanted to get a DAO." And that friend called another friend and called another friend, and we sat there over drinks, and we kind of came up with this idea. Okay, let's get a DAO for Kilifi, because the DAOs here are not as bougie and not as well done as the ones in Lamu. And we talked about it, and we finished our drinks, and the birthday party was over, and we went home. And I kind of forgot about that story. 2 days later, the WhatsApp group started by one of the ladies that we sat down and spoke about. We spoke this thing about, and it was like, okay, guys, we're doing it out. I'm like, what? What? Serious? Just be around people who are just like, okay, we talked about this, and now we're gonna put our words into motion. And it happened so fast. I mean, in July, we were able to find, because we wanted to, I really been reduced recycle and reuse about that that we put together. Um, was a jahazi, which is the Lamu style. Most of the dhows now in Lamu are from Mozambique. So we wanted to really pay homage to Lamu and Kenyan sailing. So we got a nice big jahazi. It was used. It used to be the transport and other building materials around the islands. And we said, let's give this beauty another life. And it took so that was July when we bought it. In September we started, we were almost done, and we could see the end of the rainbow. And yeah, in October we launched in Lamu, and so we worked in Lamu for about a month. And in November we brought her home to Kilifi. Of course, when it comes to sailing, you have to consider the winds. So when the wind switched and it was perfect time to sail south, we brought the dhow home, and the wind switched in between, and it was Kaskazi, went back to Kusi. We almost actually lost the dhow on the way here
Oh,
because the
wow.
weather is really bad. So it is not for the faint of heart, people. We
Yeah.
could make a dhow. Talk to me first. Um, got home safely, and of course we named her Mekatilili, and she has been one of Kilifi's favorite pastime recently. And it's for us, I think competition is very, very important. Which was another thing in Lamu. Competition was not really well received.
Mm,
um, and so now, because we have our guys in uniforms. The thing is immaculate. It has a toilet. So now we are seeing the DAOs here also improving their quality, because they're saying, okay, all that we're losing all the business to Mekatilili. So how can we improve? And I think the blue here in Kilifi could use a very big boost. There's not a lot of tourism that happens here, so I think with us kind of bringing that energy and
mm.
excitement to economy in Kilifi, it will eventually be a benefit for the county at large. So yeah, that's how Mekatilili started, as a crazy dream that four women got together and made it happen. And from this, we're going to definitely branch out and have other projects together. And this is my first time. You know me, Linda. For many, many years,
Yeah.
we were in
Yeah.
childhood. I've been a one woman wrecking machine for so long. So this is my first time doing a partnership, and it's something else that you have to consider. Who are the people you're partnering with? How do you work with other people? So if anybody out there is thinking of doing a business, for sure consider partnership if you're mostly doing things by yourself, because the support you get. But be very, very careful who you work with. And I am so blessed to work with some really incredible women. We have very different personalities. We definitely butt heads a lot, but in the long run, we know and we believe what the long run is for us to be successful, for us to lift the economy of our people. So yeah, we are the first black-owned Kenyan women dhow on the northern coast. So we're very, very proud about that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Giving you flowers and then
Yeah,
some.
yeah.
I
So
am
we want
so proud of
all the
you.
black women, all the Kenyan women to enter these spaces that are predominantly male and predominantly Caucasian. So yeah, I encourage you all. If anybody wants to talk to me about any of the things that of the businesses I'm involved with, if you want any inspiration, if you want any advice, I am so open, because it's time to reclaim our spaces.
Take it.
Yes.
Do we say it like an Angela Bassett would? Take it.
Yes.
You know, um, the fact that you sit down and you manifest something, that you've thought about it, and the women also had to get into a space. What happened to Wamuhu? She's disappeared. Wamuhu, we can't see you. Uh-oh. Okay, I think while she's getting back, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get back into showing you about what Wamahu is doing with her KimeWaka safaris, as well as the fact that she's got this black-owned, women-driven, first black-owned dhow that is happening. And yeah, we lost you for a second, so I wanted to
Oh, I don't know
just
what happens. I'm back. Sorry about that. Shugs, shugs. We live in Shugs. Sorry.
No, 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 no. It's okay. This is what happens, and this is the beauty of it, is that it's very real. It's not
Oh,
it's not polished and put together. We're just but you have to check out my name. Anyway, yeah, polished and put together. We're trying to get there. So I was saying that I love the fact that you guys were manifesting about this and you actually made it happen. I want you to give flowers to the women. Do they want to be known, or is it one of those hush hush silent partner things? But
no, no. They want to be known. I would love to shout them out. One is her name is Njeri, and she is actually a really incredible designer. So she was in charge of the design aspect of the boat. I will give you all their IGs later. Some of them are private IGs. But yeah, and Jerry has designed some of the best, most beautiful restaurants and hotels in Nairobi and in Lamu as well. Then we have our corporate girl, Daisy, and Daisy keeps us in line. She's just like, okay, guys, this is how much money, da 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 da. Da. And so she's our like accountant and our accountability mama. Then there's my other girl, Jiri, and Jiri is like, works for Microsoft, like badass Jeep driving, techie person who, takes care of the techie side of things. And just like, if you need a poster, she's there to whip it up real quick. And then there's me. I'm more of like the hippie girl who, had more of the knowledge of dhow culture and dhow business, to marketing, just opening my mouth talking about this thing. And yeah, so we make a really, really good team. So again, find your people, find your team, find people that will you, find people that will edify you. It's so, so, so important in this day and age to surround yourself with people that will just lift you.
mm,
And like I said, it's not you're not always going to be friends and happy with each other, but you get over that and you move on. And I'm telling you, it has been quite a beautiful experience. It's been an amazing experience.
I love this for you. I believe that you've found your space and your place, and this is This is the journey anyway. This is the uplifting. This is the inspiration that you're giving us. I
Yeah.
just saw recently on your was it on your IG? Well, for me, I saw it on Facebook first, but
Yeah.
Danya Gurira from Black Panther was like standing tall
Yeah.
with. Oh my God! It was such a moment with Mekatilili and the beautifulness of the brand.
Yeah.
I was just in awe. And honestly, I was like, yes. And then I saw Sauti Soul. And one of my friends who heard about this podcast also experienced Mekatilili in during Christmas. He's like, oh my God, she's amazing. She hosted us for
Oh,
Christmas. So big shout out to Mike Tabuke. A,
oh
a,
my.
a, a, a. And I feel like there's so many other people who need to come out there. I feel like take your kids on that dhow, tell them the story, hadithi hadithi, this is what's up. Yes.
Yes.
And
I,
making sure that stories are passed on, because I didn't know about it. And it's just very beautiful for you to do that. All right, let's talk about passion projects and something that you have done. And how do we start this? Okay, so KimeWaka Safaris is
yes.
basically, I feel, you safaried yourself out. You discovered on your own because you love to travel. And out of that passion came this beautiful KimeWaka Safaris. Could you tell me a bit about now how this beautiful luxe, and I say luxe because it really is
Mm.
luxurious. It's everything that people want, and it's not just like, oh, they're the rhinos. Take a picture. Oh my gosh, great. No, it's got you put so much depth into it. You really think about every single essence. Tell us about Kimewaka, because I'm just like,
Wow. So Waka Safaris was born, I would say, about 10 years ago. Just the concept. When I would, again, I worked festivals in the States, and I was so proud of my culture, of my heritage. I always dressed like this. People are always like, "Oh, where are you going with your costume?" I'm like, "Nah, this is me every day." I always I think
right?
I'm one performance. Um, and so people, I piqued people's interest, and they were like, just like, wow, I want to go to the place where that dress comes from, or the place where those earrings come from. I just love the way they dangle on you. And so I started bringing people to Kenya. And it was unofficial, not really professional business at that point. And again, like you said, I love to travel. Travel is one of my addictions.
Yeah,
And so to experience Africa kind of differently, as opposed to, you come, when I see most people's IGs when they come to Africa, I really get very disappointed. I'm not going to lie, because it is, you see the animals and more animals, and you'll see some poor kids who they're giving candy, and then you'll see a Maasai jumping and up and down, and then that's it. Africa is much bigger than that. And when I talk about that specifically, I talk about Kenya, but then you can translate that into any country on the continent.
yeah,
Is, the poverty porn, the cultural porn. It's they exotify it a little bit too much. And so we become these people, these faraway people, where they keep saying, people still have the audacity today to say, oh, it's as far as Timbuktu. Timbuktu is not far. I mean, especially if you're on the planet, I mean, on the continent, why would you say Timbuktu? And the Timbuktu used to be the center of learning. Timbuktu became, the place where so many people, even the Romans and the Greeks, wanted to go, because it was the center of learning when Europe was going through the dark ages. So
hmm,
for me, I kind of just wanted to change this mentality of what Africa is. I have stopped really caring what other people think about us, and I care mostly what we think about ourselves as Africans.
yeah,
Um, that's when I said I'm going to take people on really, and it's not really luxurious. I guess it's luxurious in an authentic kind of way. I don't take people in like the bougie what, because there is a balance. There's a poverty porn, then there's the rich, young, and famous, whatever that shitty show was, and then there's the middle. A lot of us are falling. Oh, sorry, did I?
No, it's just hilarious. Keep going, please.
Um,
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of Africans are starting to get to that middle class. Middle class is such an important group of people in the world. I think when you imagine what America was in the 50s or Europe was in the 50s and 60s, it's when most people were starting to come out of that poverty and get into the middle class. And that completely changed the society. And this is where we are as Africans. And they're saying by 2050, 40%
Mm,
of the population is going to be in Africa. So who is going to be benefiting from that? Is it the population of Africans, or is it a population
mm,
of non-Africans, and a very few Africans benefit from now the middle class? We are about to be the biggest consumer on the planet. So for me, it became really important to kind of showcase those people, and when people come, I take them on very exciting experiences. You'll stay in nice hotels. I try to support as many Kenyan owned hotels as possible, but believe it or not, it is actually really, really difficult to find Kenyan owned spaces in tourism in Kenya and anywhere else on the continent. So again, this is why I'm saying we are reclaiming our spaces. So if
yeah.
you're out, you have money that you're wondering how to invest it in tourism. And I really beg our government to really think about the fees that they're increasing, because tourism is really about to change in Kenya. This administration has kind of made things a bit complicated with the visas and the fees that have increased almost by July they're going to have tripled. And I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how that affects us as a people in tourism. But tourism is Kenya's one of Kenya's biggest economies.
Yeah.
So was not just to bring people here, it was really to change a mentality of the people visiting, my mentality, and the mentality of the people who are on the continent as well. So it's more than just a passion project of course, financially, I want to make that money. So if you need a good tour guide, a Kenyan owned company, come to me. At the same time, I want to showcase something very different when it comes to Kenya. And right now, I'm focusing mostly on East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, because, yeah, we are the future. We are actually the now. So, yeah, I want people to change their mentality and to really know that their dreams are valid, and their lives do matter here as well.
I love that, especially the fact that you're talking about reclaiming what has been ours, what we have, what we should be owning, and what we should be celebrating. I love the fact that you are passionately encouraging more Kenyans or more Africans to come back and reinvest in what we have. I feel the need for that because you're absolutely right. I mean, I lived in Diani. No pun or no stress to the people who are in Diani, but what was the biggest question that I got asked? Why did you move here? Hey, I'm home. It is home. And so that's something that people just need to, and this has got nothing to do with race, class, or anything of the sort. It's just your home. Can you imagine how many things you can experience while being out here? And just discovering. And thanks to you, you allow for people to actually see a different aspect of Kenya. And I love the fact that you take them to spaces where they can touch, feel. It's not just from afar. It's people also telling the stories. In Lamu, people telling the stories while you took them to Uganda, Zanzibar, the spice routes, but just really being intimate about it, to learn about it, so that you're not just walking back with pictures of elephants and rhinos, that there is a back end story that you will always remember. You'll be like, I
Yeah,
remember speaking to, and they told us about, because it breathes life, which is so important. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I'm breathing this life for you, that and I'm sending you more flowers and more life to you, that you continue. I feel like a lot of Kenyans need to jump on the KimeWaka Safaris, because it is a whole other different experience, and we all need to do that, even for our children. They're
Mhm.
not just going to the Mara to see elephants and rhinos, but you have to learn about the land, the soil, the people, the culture. Oh, God, girl, don't even get me started. Okay, first of all, tell me about your last trip because it just looked so beautiful. Um,
Yes.
and if there's people who caught feelings, I caught feelings because I was like, I keep saying, okay, we're doing it, and then
Yeah.
everybody is busy. But tell me about your last trip and tell me
Yeah.
about the next trip that you'll be having.
So my last trip was a gentleman from America who wanted to bring a bunch of his friends to Africa, and he talked to a friend who had actually done one of my tours, and he was like, "Okay, let me narrow it down for you. Go to Kenya, and this is a person to call." So then I curated. It was he and 18 of his friends. It was 18 of them total. So I curated. So that is one of the things I do. I do. You can say it's me and my family. It's just me personally, or it's me and my 17 friends. We want to come to Kenya. We want to do a three-country thing. Or you can say, or you can come to one of my guided, curated tours. So this particular one, we did Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, and they were here for a while. I always say, especially if you're going to come all the way from Europe or America, do not spend less than a week from Europe, and if you're from America, no less than 10 days on the ground, because it's just the travel time. By the time you really start enjoying and the jet lag is gone, it's like time to go back home. No, spend 10 weeks. These guys were here for a long time. Some of them up to 5 weeks, and it
Wow.
was really life changing. We did safaris in Kenya. I took them out in a matatu, one of those, like, I'm 44. So I remember matatus back in the day when we were going to high school was like, where? It was such a culture, So I
Yeah.
threw them in a matatu. I took them out to a lounge, where they danced all night long. They had an amazing time. um we did Uganda, where we got to, and I had been to Uganda before. I had never really traversed the entire country. That
Mhm.
country is so beautiful. Some of the nicest people I have ever met. If you're Ugandan listening to this, I love you so much. Oh my goodness, it might be the next place I move to. Just very
No, that's fine.
authentic people who, I love Kenyans, but Kenyans, we can be very transactionary. And like in Uganda, would give somebody a tip, and literally they would be on their knees, just like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I was paid for that, but wow, thanks." Um,
Wow.
yeah. Then we got to see the gorillas in Uganda. It was just a beautiful experience. We became friends with these people, became family. We fought a lot, even. One of the ladies was actually, she had cancer and she let me know after she was about to go back home, and just experiencing the trip through her, and her saying how she's so glad she was there, and she was feeling like her spirit was getting healed by the trip. And this lady actually just recently died last week. um
No.
it was just so special to go through this experience with her. She didn't just come on a tour where you have a lot of money and you just pay some person to take you here, there. It is just so regimented. I remember we were at in Nanyuki at Old Pajeta, and we stayed at Sweetwater's Lodge. Everybody, Sweetwater's Lodge. Oh my God. And we were just standing outside our tents, and there were these elephants and rhinos and all kinds of, and giraffes and zebras just walking right past. Literally, your tent is here, and you're just like, I'm on safari in my lodge. And she was in safari with us that day, and I called her. I said, "My dear, come." And I remember we held each other hand in hand, and we saw this drive-by safari. Like standing there, and the animals were the ones just like, I guess at that point,
Wow.
safari. And just telling me her zest for life, and how glad she was, and how Africa has changed her, and how she's just going to go back home and tell everybody how beautiful and kind and life-changing Africa is. And it changed my life. To This was somebody who knew she was dying, and
Mm.
experience this continent that I call home through her eyes was really life changing. I mean, when we went to see the gorillas, a gorilla walked past her and pushed her out of everybody, the weakest woman, and threw her off a cliff. It was just like, oh my God. I was like, really, really, universe, like, what is this? And she like was able, like, they went, picked her up. Thankfully, there was like some bushes that she fell into. Somebody found her phone. She was gotten out of there, and she was just like, holy shit. A gorilla just like pushed me off this freaking cliff. And the way she just took everything, every experience for her was just so alive. She was so alive. And, it reminded me when I first went to India, because India was just so intense. And I'm like, I've never felt more alive in my life. And I was
Yeah.
so proud to be from Kenya. I was so proud to be African at that moment. This is the birthplace of humanity. This is you know, we are such a kind, such a beautiful people of spirit. And it even brings tears to my eyes to see how most of us Africans are living. People are talking about going to Mars, while there's women that we have to pass when we are in our land cruisers going to get water, kilometers and kilometers away. Um, so yeah, the last trip really did change my life. Um, and I'm looking forward to more. I'm supposed to be doing a trip to Zanzibar. Mekatilili kind of took all my time, and I wasn't able to really sit and curate this one. But for the last 7 years, I used to even travel from the States every year to come to a festival called Sauti za
Mm.
Busara.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all live music from the continent. It is some of the most incredible live music. They curate a great festival.
Wow.
Um, we're going to Zanzibar to check out the music. We're going to start off with a safari in the Serengeti, Tarangire, and Ngorongoro. Then do Zanzibar, Stone Town for 4 nights. Yeah, experience some of the most.
Are you are
Oh,
you are, are you taking more people in? If somebody wants to come and experience this, would
yes,
you make some
yes,
space for it? All
yeah.
right.
More
Okay.
people.
So we need to put down exactly how we can be in touch with you, especially in terms of coming and joining these beautiful safaris. Because I'm like, if you've got some time and you really want to be passionate, you want to take some time. I feel like reflection is such a big key of what we need to be getting into. You know what I mean? And living life, not being mediocre about it, being very purposeful
Yeah,
about it. Um, I think is such an important lesson. I don't know, like in the last year, I've learned mine is just to be purposeful, to forgive yourself, to heal yourself, and to just live the life that God gave you, because that is super, super, super important. One life, mama, one life,
but
you know.
that's it. That's it. One.
I mean, look at her. She got pushed into a bush and she was just like, yes,
Yes,
out of everybody,
I
me,
know
you
me.
know.
It was like,
And yeah, but do you know that that's such an aha moment for her, just to, I'm just thinking about it, and I can't even fathom it. Like, I know I'll be scared, I'll probably pee my pants, but at the same time, it's such an adrenaline rush. Like, oh my gosh, I survived the gorilla. Anyway,
yeah.
um, you know what I mean? It's like,
I know. May she rest in peace.
oh gosh, may she rest in peace. What's her name? We could
Alison.
Alice, may you rest in peace, and I'm glad that you experienced Africa wherever you are. May your soul continue to light. Ah,
Absolutely.
yes. Well
Yes.
done for Allison. I'm so happy for her.
Me
That's called
too.
living life. And why do
Yes.
we have to wait until the moment that we have cancer for us to start living? I feel like there's different ways of us doing things. Um,
Yes. Live, live, live your life.
it's my life. Okay, sorry. I know, yes. Right now I feel like I could be on Mekatilili because the vibes from that space and your tours, 'tis the year 2024. We're coming. And we're coming.
Oh yes, you better be. You better be. You better,
Mm,
because the year fly by. So yeah, everybody, welcome to Kilifi. It is such a beautiful space. It's such a beautiful space. Yeah. Tembea Kenya, traverse. And again, I'm begging our government to be kinder when it comes
I
to the
know.
fees. and also international travel within the continent. It has been very, very
Yeah.
difficult. I hope the airlines can figure out a way where I used to say it was cheaper for me to fly back to Los Angeles and then fly to Ghana than it was for me, and more convenient really, than to fly to Togo. It will take me like 4 planes to get to Togo, lots and lots and lots of money. So yeah, tourism here is very, very important, and especially we need um, continental tourism. We need Togolese being able to go to South Africa and Zimbabweans being able to go to Morocco. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad no visa thing now in Kenya, and I really hope that we can open that. Um, across the continent for sure, because we want to experience this continent. 40% of the population is going to be here. So we need to meet and greet each other before
That's
it's too,
true.
we don't even, we can't even say hi to each other anymore, because that's where it could head to.
We are one of the richest continent in the world, yet made to feel
Right.
the poorest. It's the most ridiculous thing. We have the most resources. We keep saying it. It's almost like us as Africans, we know it, but it's almost like we're just like, but really, are we sure? Because we're
Yeah.
still on yes, massa, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, honey, wear your shields and your capes and your scarves and everything. Wear it proud. What is made in Africa, our weavers, our hospitality industry is beautiful and, like you said, is thriving. One thing at KimeWaka on IG and Facebook, a way to follow you.
KimeWaka Safaris.
KimeWaka
Um,
Safaris, all one word or two words?
it's with the hyphen. What is it
Awesome.
called?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay,
KimeWaka Safaris.
yeah,
Uh,
on IG and Facebook. I'm gonna add the banner and then you could just correct me if I'm wrong.
yes, and I'm not good on there, but I'm working on it. But I do reply to messages. Like I said, I have so many things going on. I've stopped all my fundies from working at the moment. I'm doing some construction here in Kilifi as well.
I'm coming in February.
Perimenopause, ladies, talk about the perimenopause as much as you can. Yeah, because it is also part of our lives. Yeah, so there's so much going on in my life, but when it's one on one, I'll be right there with you. So if you need anything, even just to say hi to me, please reach out. I love when people reach out for sure.
Wamuhu, I absolutely love you. I need to ask you one last question, and you know that I'm all about you. Your vibe is everything. Thank you so much for powering this conversation. But what's next for Wamuhu at the moment?
Wamuhu in 2024 wants to put Wamuhu first. So I don't know. I know how that looks like. I don't know what fruits that will bring. Yeah, so taking care of myself. I got myself a trainer. I just actually started today with a 7 a.m. very intense workout. uh, yeah, this year I want to really learn how to completely and fully appreciate and love myself. I remember I was in Mararaha this Saturday, and somebody asked me, "Man, are you just so proud of yourself for what you have accomplished with this space, Mararaha?" And I was like, you know what? Sometimes it doesn't even hit me. You know, I haven't really sat down with and gone, "Wow, good job, Wamuhu." It's always like, next, what's next? And I think that has a lot with my childhood and how I was raised. So I've kind of just that person who's like overachiever. So yeah, this year, what's next is to just wake up every morning, look myself in the mirror and say, "Wamuhu, I love you. Wamuhu, you're badass. Wamuhu, yes, manifest all the goodness and beauty and productivity and success in your life." And
Yes.
I'll plant that seed, and we'll talk again in a year or two and see what fruits that bore.
Girl, I'm just like, um, I'll probably be calling your person. Hey, could you please tell the person to call me? I know her. I know her. You know what I mean? But I'm so extremely proud of you.
Thanks.
Um, I started this podcast to be inspired. First of all, it was a very selfish feat for Into the Call podcast because I
Good for you.
wanted to inspire myself and I
Yeah.
wanted to talk to people who would inspire me. But I always said that if one person is inspired, mine's not about the masses. I'm always like, if one person is inspired to do something that they've always wanted to do, to feel and to be themselves and to own their space and their place and go for it, then I'll have done my work, and I'm just super proud of you. I said it, but I didn't say it loudly. I love you, betam betam. And because you powered this, before I give you hugs and more flowers, let me just remind people who've just caught on the last bit. This is the reason why I really want to celebrate Wamuhu and why I have her on my first month because she is a badass, just doing badass things and just being absolutely special and and what is that word I'm looking for? You're very there's that word. What's the word? I know, you know the word. You're not particular about it, but you're very intentional about it. Damn it, intentional. You're very intentional about it. And to the Jerrys and the Daisies, congratulations, ladies, on such an amazing partnership. May you guys just grow. May I see two or three more DAOs? By the way,
Yeah.
Diani needs a DAO.
Yes, a good job. We it's in the plans actually. It's in the works.
Please let me just tell you about that. Let me just tell you about that because it would be like this. I think everybody is feeding on Kilifi, but Diani also needs a slice of this.
I
Really,
got you.
really needs a slice of it. And I'll tell you, like one that will not be enough because the whole of Diani will be inside it. So
That.
um, make room for that. All right, so I'm gonna play because KimeWaka Safaris also just powered this conversation, and I'm super super blessed and super proud. I must celebrate what she has done, and then I will come back and say goodbye to you. Let's go.
Yeah. Mekatilili, mekatilili. You're my ocean, you're my ocean.
Africa is lit because of you, Mama, and I'm so thankful. Thank you so very much for being part of this. Brings tears to my eyes. I literally have tears. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. But
Thank you. That
yeah,
video was done by my friend Michael, who goes by Buffet. I'll give you his information as well to share. Um,
okay.
he he traveled with me through the Kenya tour, and yeah, he
Mm.
got some footage. And he is, if you need a videographer, Buffet is a guy for sure.
Buffett's gonna be with us in March when we
Yes.
hop down over to
Yeah.
coming that direction. I love you and have a beautiful day. And to everybody who has listened, I hope you get inspired. Take a trip, get out, take the children out, get the stories right, spread the words, spread the stories, let them learn the real truth about this beautiful continent of ours, about this beautiful country of ours. It has
Yeah.
been a blessing, a beautiful Thursday. Thank you.
Mwah.
Thanks, Wamaku, and I'll see you on the other side.
Alrighty.
Zulu!
Good
Bye,
day.
Zulu. Ciao.
Ciao.